This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Well, this conversation is going to head in a direction that we've never done before, and that is with somebody who is a psychic medium. And yes, she makes connections to the other side. She can pick up on vibrations and things like that. She's also involved in helping law enforcement and righting wrongs, if you will. We're going to dig into that today. Stacy, the psychic medium, joins us here on the program. How are you doing today?
Pretty well. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm honored to be here.
You've alluded before that you've worked in the legal field to help provide some information, insight, using your ability. And we kind of skimmed the surface on that, going a little bit deeper today in that regard. What are some of the things that you've used your psychic ability for to help with?
Well, a variety of things. I do go after human organ trafficking, human trafficking, gone after drug trade, arms trade, and information in regards to that. And I pick up on a variety of things. I've reported, like I had mentioned earlier, podcast about the military. I'd literally given them information, but that was about 2018 that I did that. And what else have I done? But I get downloads, I get information. Sometimes it's extremely specific. Sometimes I have to channel the information, get more downloads and more specific information. Sometimes I start getting it in. I'm going, okay, this is major. And I do a little energy work. And then sometimes I'll start receiving more downloads, and sometimes I'll get it all in one setting, and sometimes it takes a couple of days for that to occur. But then I'll make the contact. I will call people and give them the information. So,
well, not to get into full detail on some of this because we're in a dicey territory here, but
yes, we are.
Human trafficking, big challenge. I'm in Long Island, New York, and it's my understanding that it's pretty big here, and it's not even where you would even imagine it, like a seedy hotel, motel.
No,
actually, more upscale places, and I know people that manage major chain hotels or somebody who owns one in this area, and they actually do human trafficking training to the staff to know and identify, pick up the signs that something might be going on. So you get downloads of what? Knowing that something's happening in a certain spot?
Yeah, sometimes actually specific areas. I've got in bomb energy in Chicago, Illinois, when they've had unfortunately some bombings in park areas. I got downloads in regards to that days before it happened. But once I start getting it in, and I just do a little bit, I go within, I do some energy work, and I'm asking specific questions if this is correct. And then I go ahead. Sometimes I just know automatically this is it. And then I just go ahead and make the appropriate phone calls and try to get a hold of connect with appropriate authorities, whether it's, local law enforcement or other intelligence agencies. So, but yes, human trafficking is major. I had sent out information and dealt with a few people here in Nebraska. And then I was glad to see that after that, they started at it took too long for us to get it here, but the university here in Lincoln had addressed this, and it's been just, we've had people that have spoken here, and I have approached some of those people, but human organ trafficking and you combine it with sex trafficking, which is 6 degrees of separation there. It's all interconnected. Can happen anywhere, and it's usually upscale. It's usually through major events that are happening, the sports industry, unfortunately, other avenues. It has happened, unfortunately, the College World Series, other sporting events, where there's money at.
Mm.
If you follow the money, that's where it's out. And unfortunately, the hospitality industry is notorious for that. And I'm glad to see that for quite a while now, they've been doing training of staff and management to make sure they know the signs, and of course, hospitals, police, they've been doing more extensive training. And as this progresses, and with the advent of the internet, that really, it sends a whole other aspect to it that's not good. The downside of the internet and sex trafficking and how that's manipulated through that venue.
Have you been approached by law enforcement, knowing that you have an ability and, maybe they're looking for answers to a case or a situation. Have they reached out to you?
Yes, no, I've had people contact me back. There was a missing person case that was turning into more of a criminal. They did find them. I did give them information, but they had reached out to me later. I'd given them information. But once again, there's skeptics, and I've talked about this, where they're hesitant on reaching out to you. And so it's like, well, I'm going to have to give the info, and this is what I'm here to do. And I cannot not do it. That's just who I am, and what I'm here to do is to give this info. I don't receive these downloads. I don't get this information to keep to myself. And especially when it involves harm coming to people. I have to, it's just something that in my DNA, if you will.
It's almost as if you can't deny it.
No,
That's what
I
it
cannot.
sounds like.
This is, there are mediums that do certain things. We have certain gifts and abilities, more strengths, and this is one of mine. And I've always had this ability. I seem to know when things are going on that shouldn't. And, I have been threatened before on more than one occasion. And it's rather disconcerting at times, and sometimes more than that. But I know I'm here to do the right thing. And if you're here in your purpose and doing what you're meant to do, I'm not a religious person, very extremely spiritual, but in some respects, I know I will be protected.
How do you know, Stacy, when you get a download that it's real? Like, here you are going to, send up the flares and the sound the alarm, potentially for law enforcement if you're getting something. You want to make sure that it's valid, right?
Right. You're absolutely right. And there's once again that sense of knowing. And when I get it repeatedly and consistently, for me, it's a consistent basis. I keep on getting it. And sometimes, I'll start to, ignore it. It comes in again in a variety of ways. It comes in for me. symbols, synchronicities. I get more downloads, and it will not go away until it's like somebody who has crossed over that wants a message, and they know I'm a conduit, and that's exactly what I am. I'm a conduit for this. Will not leave me alone. And if I need to get this, it's a sense of sometimes it comes in very calmly, but there's also a sense of urgency that I need to get the message out. And especially if it's, I have picked up bomb energy going off. And if I know there's any potential of people being harmed, I have to give the message. So I have to go with it. But I do have certain measures that I know that it's specific. I know it's giving me details. I know it consistently comes in, and that's more the key, consistency. It comes in repeatedly. And there's sometimes it's just there and I know it. And
The more you explain it, the more I see that if you've got something and people's lives are involved in it and potentially at stake, how do you deny that? What if you've got something, it's of major proportion, and you didn't say something, and then something happens or takes place?
right.
How do you
Right.
live with
There's
that?
there has been times when there was one incident that I got it in. I didn't know who to call. It happened. I started to get it in, and then 2 days later, and I was very upset by this particular incident, and people died. And there is also the question that this is more of a spiritual, divine connection, if you will, that I have to ask myself the question, do I intercede? And this is not saying that I'm above and beyond reproach, that I'm above and beyond anything else. This is here that I am the conduit. I am acting on behalf of higher influences, and here that this is what I'm here to do. But there is a question and point in time that I have asked myself, am I supposed to intercede? Am I supposed to do this? And that's been a difficult one for me to process and deal with. And the why did that have to happen? And why are these things happening? But, that's a whole nother broadcast that we could go on for days about that. But there have been times, and I've questioned that, and I also have the ability. I'll know when people are going to pass before they pass, and like times I'll run into certain people, and I'll know that fairly soon that they will pass. And that's another one of my gifts, is knowing that. So, or whether or not I've met an individual, I've never seen him before. If I fixate on them, one or two things: they're either going to pass right away, or else I'm going to have specific dealings with them, and sometimes profound dealings with them. So, but when it comes to reporting the corruption, the human trafficking, and all of that, I've had to go within and really cipher out, I need to give this info. And usually I know. Usually it's pretty consistency, and I just know that I'm supposed to. And when you when you tap into that internal compass, you'll know. But it's a matter of being connected and not denying it, and knowing that it's correct. And like I said, not always are we correct about, whatever medium, whatever psychic, not all. And sometimes it hasn't happened yet. And, past, present, and future, I do all of the above. So, but you just have to trust. It's a feeling. And that, as you go through the years, I've known to learn how to trust that process.
Well, let's talk about some of the other things that you have helped with. I believe you've mentioned before uh, the organ donation situation. There's been, right?
Human organ trafficking, which
Thank you.
is superseding a lot of other things. It's superseding drug trafficking. It's superseding drug trafficking, and human trafficking hence goes into human organ trafficking. Where they're human trafficking initially, and it turns into human organ trafficking. It's become very, very big business, and it's unfortunate. Um, and then you have to have a whole system to make this work. So, and it's, and people have asked me, and and I'm not even too sure, to be quite honest, everything that would be all involved and who would all be involved. But obviously, you would have to have, and obviously this would be corruption through certain law enforcement, certain you would have to have hospitals, you would have to have mortuaries, you would have to have other people connections, the black market, which human organ trafficking is, a lot of times that's how it comes about.
Mm.
But it's become, the amount of money that can be made through that, like I said, is superseding arms and drugs. And it's become that, and between the last probably 10 to 20 years, and especially in the last 10 years, it has really reached epic proportion. And that's not to say for people who specifically want to, when they pass, want to donate their organs, and they give permission, but this is permission. This is not. This is, no one has any permission, or else things are quite calculated to take those organs, and by unlawful means, if you will.
Pretty heavy stuff.
It is. I know.
And I know it's very challenging for you being in this position. You've got something, you need to share it. But that's just a piece of what you do. How can we connect with you, Stacy? If somebody's got questions, maybe they need a reading, they need closure, they need answers. How do they do that?
Well, you can reach me on Stacy the Psychic Medium on Instagram, on Facebook, and primarily Instagram. I'm noticing there's certain avenues that, and I may have to work on that, that might be blocked off. Occasionally I'm on YouTube and Twitter, but primarily Instagram and Facebook.
Gotcha. And once again, what do we look for? Your handle on IG?
Stacy the Psychic Medium.
Got it. Thank you for all the insight, your transparency today with everything. Really appreciate it. Fascinating. And it's, how does that go? See something, say something. For you, it's like feel something, say something, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It is.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate it. Once again, I'm truly honored to be
Likewise.
on here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll catch up soon. We'll be right back.
Okay.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals. This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.